A huge MCU return rumour and our review of arguably the best superhero movie ever. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm Anthony.
And welcome to That Superhero Thing.
100th episode. Let's do it!
"100 episodes.
Weird, innit?
Yeah, it's very weird.
I wasn't sure we'd make it.
3 and a bit years
I know.
we've been doing this. I mean, that doesn't add up. That clearly shows we've had weeks off. But 100 episodes?
I mean, what's that like?
A lot. It's
like-
100.
It's like an episode every 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Works out something.
But
like
we've done weeks where we've had like periods where we've done like absolutely every week.
Yeah.
Where's my Lamborghini? I well thought if we'd done 100 episodes, I'd have a Lamborghini by now.
I know,
Spoilers,
rude.
I haven't got one. I can
know.
barely afford me Jeep. Anyway, we've got a special episode for you this week. Special episode, couple of ways. Firstly, you picked what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So we have got a review for you of Spider-Man 2. We've got a special guest. We've
have.
got Richard Nebens from The Direct coming on.
Yeah.
Very special because he's taken time out of his day to come and join us, but also
Yes.
he was one of our first ever guests on the show
He was.
almost 3 years ago. So we're talking that. We're doing Spider-Man 2. We're doing all the latest comic book movie news. And yeah, we've got Richard Nebens on the show as well. We will also then be doing your thoughts and theories in Podfans Assemble at the end of the episode.
Fab.
Spoiler warning, there will be spoilers and speculation. I mean, spoilers
It's
for
a
Spider-Man
20-year-old
2.
movie, so if you're
Yeah,
still
but
spoiling it for you now.
There could be some spoilers for upcoming projects in the news, so we'll get onto
Yeah.
that. But yeah, this is your spoiler warning, and we'll put timestamps in the description, as we always do. So news,
Brill.
we're going to kick off episode 100.
Episode
God,
100.
With a big rumour. So,
Go on.
My Time to Shine Hello, one of them scoopers. Can we get toast? My Time to Shine Hello, marmalade twerkers. He has revealed, again, these are all rumours, that Chris Evans has apparently agreed to return to the MCU. Done deal from what I'm reading. So he is going to appear as Cap in Secret Wars. He might also be in Avengers 5.
Okay.
Good news. Happy.
Well, I mean, I've also heard the rumour that he is going to be the Torch in
In
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, but you can do both.
I know, but so when you first said it, I was like, well, yeah,
Oh, okay.
because the Torch. But
Yeah.
now I'm kind of like, okay, as Cap. Love
Do
that.
we want him as? I mean, I like the fact that Chris Evans is coming back because he was brilliant. Do we want him? Do we want him as the same Cap from like a different time travel shenanigans, or do we want him as a variant, or do we just want him as Old Man Cap in an Iron Man suit?
I want an evil Cap.
You want Evil Cap? You want
Yeah.
Hydra Cap?
Yeah.
What? The only time Chris Evans comes back is as Evil Cap.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I think I kind of like that.
Yeah. Because
Give
everyone's
it a bit
like,
of an
yeah,
edge.
Cap's back, and it's not Cap. It's not my Cap.
Not my.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, I really like that, but it just feels like if we're going to get him back once, I kind of just want.
Yeah.
I just want good old Steve Rogers.
I think the only time we should get proper Cap back is just a close-up shot of his ass.
Just of his ass.
Just
America's
America's
ass.
ass.
America's ass.
And then he's gone again.
Got
That's
another
it.
huge rumour. Avengers 5. This one's from Daniel RPK.
Okay.
Not Marmalade Twerkers. He has revealed apparently who the main players are going to be in the Avengers 5. So basically the main Avengers team.
Yeah.
He is saying that it's going to be Cap, Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
Obvious. Good with that. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Hulk.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Moon Knight.
Yeah.
I like that.
Bit different, isn't it?
It's a bit different. I don't know how I feel about She-Hulk.
Mm.
I've got nothing against women. I'm not one of these incel nutters. But She-Hulk wasn't very good. But she was good.
She was good. The writing just wasn't quite.
Do you know what my issue with her as She-Hulk is in
What?
this movie?
What?
Is she's very comedic, and I want us to get a little bit away from the comedy.
Yeah.
I want a bit more seriousness. So as
And
long
I
as
just
Tatiana
don't
Maslany
know-
can do serious She-Hulk, I'm good.
Do you know what though? I think for me it's the fourth wall bit. That's what I'm worried about.
Too much fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
Because that's like Deadpool's thing.
Not about it being Deadpool's thing, but just about if we're getting a serious fight. I don't want to stepping out because it'll take us out of.
But she's already stepped out.
No, I know.
No, so that Dan, am I agreeing with you? That's the problem.
Yeah.
So we're going to have She-Hulk fighting Kang, maybe whoever the baddie's going to be in Avengers 5 and probably in Avengers 6.
Yeah.
She's going to be fighting it. It's going to be like they're going to try and sell it like Infinity War, like, oh my god, this is the end of the world, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But at any minute she can just jump out the screen and jump into head office and just change the script.
Yeah.
It takes away the edge.
Yeah.
I think they've ruined it with that a little bit.
I know.
We need a bit of a retcon. Maybe Deadpool will fix it.
Maybe.
Deadpool's got a list of shit to fix in the MCU. Talking about Deadpool, another one from Daniel RPK.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine reshoots are currently happening.
Yes.
Started end of April and are expected to last well into May. Why? We don't know.
Oh, well, I've heard a little bit more.
I'm thinking cameos.
No, I've heard that stuff's being taken out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, go on. I don't know.
So I
this.
believe, now, I've only read this and I can't tell you pinpoint it where I've read it.
Okay.
But it's just what I've...
Did you dream it?
No, I haven't dreamt it. I've literally read it. There's scenes with Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
That have been taken out, and She-Hulk.
And She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So they've reshot the scenes to go around those.
But they're... apparently they've been completely taken out of the movie.
Okay.
She-Hulk and Captain Marvel will now not be in Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know.
I get She-Hulk. I've not got anything against the character, but again, it takes that edge out, and I know Deadpool.
You see, I thought that might have been the one funny moment where they can both break the fourth wall, so it's a bit of a you can do it. I think that could be quite amusing.
Maybe,
but I don't
get why we're getting rid of Captain Marvel.
No.
I like Captain Marvel. I know a lot of people don't. I didn't like number 2, the movie, but I like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, there's lines in it where he's taking the mick out of her hair a little bit, and she's calling Wolverine his little pup. Or something.
How do you know
like
this?
That.
Has this been revealed?
This is what
okay.
I read before.
Okay.
I really don't know where I've read it, and I'm so sorry. I'm rubbish. I should have cited it, but
no, it's good.
But yeah, no, it's all.
It's taken 100 episodes, but Andy's got knowledge.
You cheeky
I knew he'd bring something to the table at some point.
But yeah, so all that's been taken out apparently, and that's part of the reshoots.
I'm also hearing cameos though.
Yes, I mean,
more cameos.
I would not be surprised if there were more cameos.
Michael B. Jordan has been retweeting the trailer.
Has he?
Yeah, kind of love that.
Yeah.
And the rumor today is that Wesley Snipes is going to be returning as Blade.
No, I've heard this as well.
I love this.
And honestly, I will wet myself if it happens.
I love it. Yeah. I'd love to for him to be one of the rebel fighters against Cassandra Nova in the Void. Yeah, I mean, I literally can't even find fault with that.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes is a bit of a head case, but I mean, that just makes it even better.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds said that on the set of Blade 3, he never met Wesley, he only met Blade. So to have the fact that they're okay with each other is great, but to have jokes along those lines. Yeah, I'm all for it. There's also, there are rumours that people know what the post-credit scene is going to be for Deadpool.
Okay.
And it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
There are people spoiling it already. Don't spoil it.
Why?
Don't spoil it. Don't go looking for it. Don't spoil it. Same with the X-Men this week. If you see it, don't go telling everybody about it. Don't send in a Podfans Assemble with it, because we'll find you.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't ruin it for people. Why would we want to know? It's ages away.
I know.
Hopefully it's just like leaks by Marvel and it's a load of crap.
Yeah.
Really. We're sticking with Marvel. It's all Marvel news this week. Chris Hemsworth thinks that he owes us another Thor movie.
Yes, I've seen this.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Wholeheartedly.
He's basically said it missed its landing, didn't he?
Yeah, he said, so he did an interview with Vanity Fair. He says that he understands that Thor Love and Thunder wasn't great. He said, I got caught up in the improv and the wackiness and it became a parody of myself. I didn't stick the landing.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
But fair play to him for...
Yeah. This is all great news.
Yeah,
This is all I've seen from Marvel in the last literally 6 weeks is we're fucking this up.
Yeah.
We know we need to change things.
Yeah.
And them aiming in the right direction now. X-Men 97, phenomenal.
Oh,
it's not
amazing.
a kids show. It's aimed at 35 to 40-year-olds because they watched it as kids.
Yeah.
Deadpool, we've got an R-rated.
I'm not 35 yet, you cheeky.
Yeah, nearly. We've got it. Anthony, there's a thing flashing up on your thing.
Oh, it's for antivirus protection because it's expired.
Turn it off.
I'm not going to touch it just in case I break the whole thing.
I'm not going to edit this out. Now you know the real 100 episode. What a real.
I've got a dead shit laptop, guys.
He has got a dead shit laptop.
Come and join our Patreon.
I thought I'd have a Lamborghini and a MacBook by now. What were you even talking about?
I've got an Asus and a Renault Captur.
But yeah, so Deadpool. Right, we're gonna have an R-rated Marvel movie that's gonna break a bill.
Yeah. Easy.
You need to get Deadpool.
They'll break a bill just from us two watching.
You need to get Deadpool past $1 billion so that Marvel realize they don't have to do toy commercials like Batman and Robin anymore to make the money. We want grown-up stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's a good sign. I want Chris Hemsworth to come back and give us a proper Thor. I don't want Thor 1 and 2 Thor. I want Ragnarok and Endgame Infinity War Thor.
Yes,
bit of comedy, but not stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good with that.
Same.
Let's do that. Last bit of news, we got our first look this week through McDonald's at Falcon, the new Falcon, and Cap, Sam's new Cap costume as well. I've got pictures here. So we first met Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, we did.
And we already knew he was going to be taking on the Falcon mantle. I can't show you because we're not on video, but we might get there because we did a little bit of that before and that was quite good. McDonald's have basically shown pictures. It's all over our Twitter. There you go, aren't they?
I love the fact that McDonald's were like, too late, we've already planned our toys.
So the story is that apparently with McDonald's, when they plan the Happy Meal toys, you've got to like book them like 2.5, 3 years in advance, and those dates are like locked in. So recently, Super Mario Brothers, the toys and Happy Meals came out 2 months before the movie came out because they delayed the movie 2 months, but no one really noticed because it was 2 months. This isn't coming out till February next year, and we've already got all the promo art. We've got the Happy Meal little cuddly toys. We've got a Red Hulk toy, we've got a Falcon toy, we've got other unconfirmed characters.
So funny.
Yeah, it's not good. Do you know what? McDonald's just run everything. McDonald's should buy Disney because apparently they could by the sounds of it.
Do you want to hear a little tidbit about McDonald's while we're here?
Go on. Wow. Yeah.
So, you know Ronald McDonald. Where's he gone?
Not personally.
Where's he gone?
I know this. Did you tell me this the other day?
Maybe I told you the other day. But since that clown debacle during COVID where people were dressing up as clowns coming out and scaring people,
they stopped it.
They've phased Ronald McDonald out because they don't want it to be associated with the scary clowns.
Good. Do give me the creeps.
So, yeah, it's over.
Yeah. No more Ronald McDonald birthday parties.
Ronnie McDonnie.
Ronnie McDonnie will return.
I've actually got one more piece of news.
Shut up.
Right, and it's from 2 weeks ago.
It's all going so well.
I know, right? Do you remember 2 weeks ago when I said to you?
I don't remember yesterday.
No, but you remember this because it was stupid. So do you remember 2 weeks ago I said to you that I was sure that somebody had said something had started filming and I couldn't remember who or what? Do you remember?
Yeah.
So... I found it.
Okay.
And it was James Gunn.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to say.
And he put his promo to say that season 2 of Pacemaker.
Pacemaker.
That's a totally different
That's
show.
like number 86.
Season 2 of Peacemaker has started filming.
Amazing.
Which I'm really excited about because I love
series
Peacemaker.
1.
Oh my God, it's so good.
But I love John Cena.
But yeah, so season 2 started filming now.
Amazing.
And I was very excited about that because I really enjoyed season 1.
That's awesome.
And that was why I wanted to talk about it 2 weeks ago, and then I couldn't find the where I'd screenshot it.
We snuck a little bit of DC news in there, so we don't get accused of favoritism. But yeah, well done. That's us for news. We've flown through news. Shall we do what we're here for? Shall we do the review? Let's get Richard on and let's talk Spider-Man 2.
Let's do it.
So time to talk Spider-Man 2. You guys voted for it. We kept it quiet up to now, but you can't see him. I can see him, but we're not doing video. So we have got a special guest on the show. I've probably already announced it earlier on, but we have got joining us for the first time in almost 3 years, one of the first guests we ever had on the show, Richard Nebens from, where am I saying you're from now, Richard? The Direct? Are we still from The Direct?
Yep. Senior writer from The Direct.
There you go. Snuck that in, didn't he? Senior writer, not just writer. Senior writer for The Direct.
I know. I got that promotion maybe like a year after we talked to him. And like you said, crazy that it's been 3 years. But no, I'm thrilled to be back here. Congratulations on 100 episodes. You guys have done a hell of a job.
And, I wouldn't go that far, but we did it. we got not necessarily 100 good episodes, but we got 100 episodes in. So again, it's been almost 3 years since we had you on the show. You weren't new to it, but you were new to sort of like the Direct and stuff like that. You're a senior writer now, which is amazing. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to. I know you've been to 1 or 2 premieres as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's been pretty crazy the last few years. I've been really lucky to do a couple of cool things. I've been to one big red carpet premiere, which full disclosure, I did not get invited to that personally, but I went to it as a +1 from one of my friends that I worked with
still counts.
When I was with the Illuminati also.
You didn't have to tell us that, I was there. You just said Feige invited you personally.
Oh God! Hey, the day that happens, you will not hear me shut up about it.
No, that's fine.
I can promise you that.
Love it.
That's fine.
But yeah, so I did that for Eternals, which was awesome.
That
It was such a cool experience, doing the red carpet and everything.
Imagine.
That was one of the coolest things in my life. I cannot wait to get back to doing something like that again. But I've been to a couple of really cool screenings also out in LA.
Okay.
I did Thor: Love and Thunder, and I did Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Okay.
Did some, did a couple of reviews and articles for that and stuff.
Yeah.
I also was very cool. Was about a month after Quantumania came out, I interviewed Dave Dastmalchian from the movie.
That's amazing.
Which was so cool. He's probably the nicest guy I've ever interviewed. I mean, all my interviews have been great. I mean, the 12 or 15 or whatever that I've done, but he was just an absolute gem of a human being.
Yeah.
And I cannot say enough good things about him. But I've done some really cool things since then. The cool ones I did Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah from Miss Marvel. I got to interview them after the finale.
Oh, amazing.
Which was super, super cool.
Yeah.
I got to interview the cinematographer from Ahsoka, who was awesome.
Wow.
And he was a really fun chat. And my most recent one that I did, I'd have a cool one up on the direct. It's an interview with Asher Grodman from the show Ghosts, the American version of Ghosts.
Yeah.
And you guys have a UK version of Ghosts.
Yeah,
but he was such a nice guy. I've got a couple articles up for him. I've got one up on the site and one that's waiting to be published. But it's been great. It was crazy too. Last thing before I pass it to you guys, I just passed my 4,000th article published for the direct, like just the other day. Which, I mean, I can't believe I've written that much. I mean, I know I got the lucky enough to get the nickname The Machine from my friend Liam Crowley, who used to work with me. But I can't. It's sort of starting to feel like I maybe actually am sort of that writing as much as I do. But I'm just hoping to keep going with this job and keep going to new heights and keep going from here.
That's it. Well, it's absolutely smashing it.
Amazing.
Premieres, interviewing like David Dastmalchian and stuff like that. Absolutely amazing. We are genuinely thrilled to have you back on the show as well. Kind of
really
like living vicariously through you. So I can say I spoke to somebody. I know somebody who went to a Marvel premiere. Do you know what I mean? It might not have been a good movie, but he still went to the premiere.
That's what I do all the time. Like I've got friends who have talked to one of my friends talked to Scarlett Johansson once for Asteroid City, and I know people who have spoken to some of the biggest directors in the business. Right now, I'm kind of living vicariously through them until I get to the point where hopefully I'm doing some of that myself. But it's a process, and I'm working my tail off to it.
Yeah. Amazing. And then sometimes reality hits you, and you end up on a podcast with two dudes from the UK. It's like, what happened?
Hey, it's great. I will podcast any day of the week. I love doing this. The thing I love more than anything too, more than the writing, more than the premiere stuff, I just love that I get to talk about this stuff for a living with people who
100%.
genuinely love this stuff.
Yeah.
I would do that for free. So the fact that I get paid to do this kind of stuff I couldn't ask for anything better.
No, it's boss, isn't it?
It is amazing.
That's why we still do it as well, because we enjoy we have times where we do and don't enjoy the content and enjoy it a little bit more than other times, but it's good. And like today, obviously we're getting to talk about not something new, but something that's probably got a lot of people into this sort of stuff before it was proper mainstream. And obviously, as we said, it's Spider-Man 2. So 2004, Tobey Maguire, probably I would say arguably one of, if not the best comic book movies ever.
It is scary that it was 20 years ago. I'm going to start with that.
It is scary that it was 20
it's
years
scary
ago.
That it was 20 years ago.
I just said 2004. I didn't even compute that was 20 years.
Yeah, it's scary that.
Oh, thanks, Anthony.
I still think the 80s
Insane.
was 15 years ago.
If someone says to me 20 years ago, I go 1984.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not 40 years ago.
You know what? I wasn't even alive in the 80s, and it's the same way
shut
for me.
up.
When I think something is I know. 1990 exactly.
Same.
So
same. So we're the same age then, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Why are you lying?
Yeah, no, when somebody says something is 20 years old, I think anywhere from 1975 to 1985.
Yeah,
still.
same.
Not 2000 freaking 4.
No, exactly. It's like we got an apprentice in work, and she was born in 2003.
Yeah.
And then I realized that was when Finding Nemo came out, and I was like, she was born the
Ridiculous.
same year that Finding Nemo came out,
scary.
and it frightens the hell out of me.
No, one of my good friends who worked with me, who is like a big shot over at comicbook.com, he did like a lot of the Percy Jackson stuff.
Yeah.
He told me on the first time that we podcasted together, this guy Liam Crowley, one of my good friends,
And,
he was
Liam,
born on the day the first X-Men movie came out in 2000.
Oh my god,
it's depressing.
Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, it's good,
you
though,
are
isn't it? 'Cause, I mean,
baby.
Liam's smashed it.
Yeah.
I've followed Liam. I know
He's a freaking rock star.
Yeah, he's smashing it. He's doing like AEW, WWE press conferences now,
Oh,
and all
really?
that sort of stuff. Yeah, he's absolutely killing it.
crazy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're sat on the sofa, but luckily no one can see on YouTube yet. But yeah, we'll get there. Just it's not a race. It's not a race.
No, exactly. It's a marathon.
Exactly. So anyway, let's talk Spider-Man.
I'm at the water table crying.
I'm giving out bottles.
Man.
So let's talk Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I feel like, do you know what? No, we stopped when we did the podcast. I think when we originally did it with you, Richard, we used to sit there and go through like every little scene and everything and every show. Like I think when we did episode 1 of What If with you last time, and we sat there and we went through every scene, and we sort of got away from that.
Yeah.
But sitting there watching it, I don't want to go through every scene in detail. We'll be here all night. But
Yeah. Well,
There's-
this one's
it's
almost
hard
4
not
times as
to.
long as episode 1 of What If. So
exactly, yeah. But every scene is like it. I don't want to use the word iconic just for the sake of it, but every scene is like so well done.
Yeah.
In this.
There was a
movie.
reason for every scene. There was no filler. That's the thing. Like sometimes now when you're watching some of them, it feels like there's just that little bit of filler in there. It's just to move the general story on, but it doesn't actually add to the story in any way.
Yeah.
Whereas every scene in kind of, I'd say to a degree, all 3 of the original Spider-Man movies, there was a reason for everything.
Well, we don't know about number 3, but
Number 3 started to fall off. We know that. We know that. But as a general rule,
we don't have to talk about 3.
No, we don't have to.
This one took all the best bits of number 1.
Yeah.
And it was non-stop. The whole movie was non-stop.
Yeah.
Even from the very opening, so it opened with like the pizza delivery whole thing, and even that, it was just like it was essential. It was essential to sort of to show. Can't even talk. It was essential to show. It's hard to say. Just sort of like how this superhero who is like becoming loved.
Yeah.
Is just really some completely down on his luck pizza delivery dude getting sacked from his job.
It's essential Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why people love Spider-Man, because he is more down to earth. I know people love Batman and they love Tony Stark, like billionaires, but I think that's part of the reason why people do have that fondness for Spider-Man, because he is just a normal, apart from the fact he can climb up walls and he's got super strength, he's a normal dude, from the day-to-day aspect. Something I noticed in that scene as well, when he gets the little label ripped off his head on the pizza place, it's Bleecker Street Pizza, or it's Joe's Pizza on Bleecker Street, which is where, I mean, that might be really where it is, but it's where Doctor Strange lives.
Oh, okay.
So it's 177 Bleecker Street is
where
Joe's
the Sanctum
Pizza, and 223 Bleecker Street. I researched this. I'm not that sad. Not that you're sad if you know that, but I've got other things to remember. I can't remember my kids' birthdays. I'm definitely not going to remember where Doctor Strange lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like little Easter eggs that at the time you wouldn't pick up on, especially for the sort of mainstream audience that it was from. But we get a mention of Doctor Strange later on in the movie as well, don't we? When they're trying to come up with a name.
I remember that whole scene. Yeah, he's like, what are we going to call this guy? Dr. Octopus. Yeah, it's crap. Science Squid? Crap. Doctor Strange. That's pretty good. But it's taken.
It's taken. But just like at the time, it was like that's like massive. Do you know what I mean? But I think nobody thought of where it was going to go. Clearly, from there.
I literally watched it last night.
Did you?
So
okay.
I'm very very recent as to watching it, and all I could think about was you when I saw the scene when he started laughing in Peter Parker's face when he asked for the advance.
That was it. Why? Because
you use that meme all the time. Every GIF I see is that.
I've literally written it down. I've written it down. Jameson laughed.
Such a GIF-worthy movie.
It is.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So we'll talk about like iconic scenes and stuff like that. But let's talk a bit about like the casting. So this was Tobey's second of now 4th appearance as Spidey / Peter Parker. There's rumors that he's going to be back for a 5th. Either in like Secret Wars or potentially in a Spider-Man 4. There's a lot of talk about a Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 at the moment. Fingers crossed, exactly.
Fingers crossed.
What do we think of I mean, it wasn't the first live action Peter Parker. It was the second, Nicholas Hammond. Knowledge. Nicholas Hammond was the first. What do we think though about Tobey Maguire Peter Parker and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
So I always liked Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man more than Tobey Maguire's teen angst sort of kid.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
He felt old.
Yes.
In a way. Not that because he's not old in that he's early 20s, isn't he?
Well, he was like
when he
25 when he filmed the first one, I think.
Yeah. So he's not a million miles away.
No.
But I felt the difference, especially watching it back now. I felt that there's a level of maturity there that the age that he's playing wouldn't have had. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he feels older than an 18, 19-year-old kid just going to college for the first time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I much prefer his Spidey to his Peter Parker.
I would agree. I think his Spidey is like absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
But there's something about that Peter Parker. Is he a bit mopey? A little bit too angsty.
Whereas, for example, with Andrew Garfield, I felt it was the other way around.
100%.
I loved Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, but less so as his version of Spidey.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
What do you think, Richard? Good Spider-Man, bad Spider-Man?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I really like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, honestly. Like, I thought he did a pretty solid job enough, like, at Peter and at Spidey. There are the moments that were with him as Spider-Man, like when he throws the, later on when he throws the change bag at Doc, I was like, here's your change. He's got the quippiness down, down pat. But I really do like his Peter Parker also. I mean, he feels older than an 18 and 19-year-old. I mean, really, when you look at it, Tom Holland's the only one that's actually played Spider-Man while being a teenager. I know it was just in Civil War, but it's kind of funny to think about that all of them are playing this like 15 to 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And I know Hollywood does that all the time, so it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, he did a fantastic job as both Peter and Spider-Man. And I love that, especially in Spider-Man 2. And I love that because it's so fleshed out already. And like, you don't really have to, do the whole origin story again. You've already got that covered and you can just like jump into Spidey stuff. And to a degree,
they had fun because he's already done the first one. There's kind of like a confidence there for the second one. Cause he's like, first one did a good job. I know it's going to be okay. To a degree. And so that's what I liked about this one as well, because as soon as we went into it, it was him feeling as Spidey straight off.
Yeah, and I think as good as the first movie was, like Spider-Man 2 is easily the one that people think is like the best out of this trilogy, just from start to finish. For Tobey's character to all the casting in this movie, I mean the villains and stuff. I mean, this is just a fantastic movie. Sam Raimi did such a good job with this universe. I mean, there's a reason people want him back to do more Spider-Man stuff 20 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of how you feel about Multiverse of Madness, I know there's got a lot of mixed opinion on it. I liked it, but I know some people didn't. But the fact that people still want Sam Raimi to do Spider-Man stuff, even in 2024, is saying something for how good those movies were.
Oh, massively. Yeah, you can tell. And we said this when we went to watch Doctor Strange in the cinema. Raimi's got a very distinct feel to his movies, and I think it was when we watched Doctor Strange, and it was when that the big one-eyed monster is like attacking the city at the start of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and me and Andy both looked at each other and we were like, so Raimi this is such a Raimi feel to the movie.
Classic Raimi.
I think I know we're talking about Spider-Man, but it's like Sam Raimi didn't write Spider-Man 1 or 2 or 3. He was the director, that's it. And I don't think anything that Sam Raimi was necessarily responsible for was possibly his fault with Multiverse of Madness. I don't think it was the worst film ever, but I think it definitely had its faults. But I think you could put that more down to the writing of the movie rather than the actual directing of the movie. So for me, when I heard that Sam Raimi was potentially up for like Secret Wars or Avengers 5, whatever one he's up for, I went to Doctor Strange first and was like, yeah, he was great, but is he still great? And it's only through watching this and actually realizing he's not the writer of the movie that I'm now like, yeah, bring him back.
Yeah.
Bring him back. I'm good for it. I think he had that perfect blend of comic bookiness and seriousness. Yeah. Which I think is what Marvel's struggled with recently.
Yeah.
Really struggled to sort of toe
There's
that
like
line.
A balance of fun and elements of gothic to a degree.
Yes.
In there without it without it being gothic to the level of like your Dark Knight and all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. There's that
Right.
darkness that's there, but it's still light as well.
Yeah.
It's still light enough that it can be a family film. Everyone enjoys it. The kids understand it. That kind of thing. It was a nice blend,
No, I get
in my opinion.
It's almost like what Joel Schumacher was trying to do with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, but Sam Raimi nailed it.
Yeah.
That level of,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
obviously, clearly Joel Schumacher didn't. We did Batman and Robin last week. It was a shit show.
It's a movie that exists.
But yeah, so I mean, I love Sam Raimi's style.
Yeah.
I've been a big fan since this. He's probably one of the first directors, other than like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, who I knew was a director, if you get what I mean. So
yeah,
I'm 100% on board with him coming back. And I think, as I said, I think he nailed this. I wasn't going to talk about it yet, but even the transitions he uses are like amazing. For instance, there's like one way you go like into Spidey's emblem on his chest, and then it's Harry's apartment.
Yeah.
There's one where I can't remember where it starts, but it ends up coming out of Peter's mouth when he's at the doctor's.
Yeah,
swinging through a newspaper,
yeah.
and it's just like, though that is Raimi. That is that distinct style, and it's that comic bookiness without you going, how stupid is that? It's just a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
The one I love is right after he takes off the suit and puts it in the trash can, the way he lingers on the eyes, like when it goes all black, and then it lingers on the eyes just for a second before it goes to the next scene where he's just Peter Parker again.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just some peak comic book movie stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. That was obviously one of the stories that we've got going on in this movie. So we've got the Spider-Man No More stories. And again, I think which we'll talk about individually, but that's another massive thing for Raimi. There's so many stories going on in this movie. So we've got the whole Spider-Man No More story. We've got MJ and Pete's relationship story. We've got the Pete and Spidey, Harry sort of like hate triangle rather than love triangle. We've got that going on. We've got Doc Ock. We've got Aunt May's money worries, trying to remortgage the house.
Yeah.
And there's so many subplots.
Yeah.
And that is... I know that's a big sort of critique of a lot of movies at the moment. Now, I've still not seen the latest Ghostbusters, but I know one of the big critiques of that is there's too many stories going on. And I think a lot of movies fall down there.
Yeah.
And with this,
for sure,
they gave them all enough so that none of them didn't feel covered.
Yeah.
But it at no point did it feel like it was overstretched.
Yeah.
It just all blended
Yeah.
really nicely into each story. And again, that's a massive plus to the writers, but again, for Raimi to be able to direct that and keep it flowing, where it didn't feel like, we're jumping from this to this and this and then back and forth.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's that many stories.
No. But when you actually sit there and you look at it, it's like there's so much. Well,
they
going on
intertwine
in this
so
movie.
well as well. I mean, obviously, like we're talking about the money troubles and stuff, and there's the scene when they're in the bank, and that's when Doc Ock turns up to steal from the bank.
Right.
So it's all happening in that one scene.
Yes.
So you're not jumping; it's literally flowing through individual storylines that just happen to be taking place in the same area.
Exactly.
And I that's what I like about it. I like that it covers kind of in that way.
But that's a skill, and I think it's something that I think we are missing in a lot of movies recently. It feels like you're just throwing as much in as you can do, and it's like Raimi sat there and he's taking the time to make sure it all gels and it all flows really nicely.
You can have a lot of different stories in a movie, and as Sam Raimi proved, you just have to make sure that they all work with one another, over the course of the movie, however long it is.
Exactly. They've got to complement each other, haven't they? And clearly they do in this movie.
Yeah.
Richard, you mentioned how good like the villains were. Or the villain mainly in this one, because I know Harry's kind of a villain. What are your thoughts on Alfred Molina's Doc Ock?
I mean, what else can we say? What else can we say about it? I mean, he's one of the greatest interpretations of a comic book movie villain, I think, probably in movie history. I mean, the way that he was so understated too. Like on his way to becoming Doc Ock, and I gotta give Alfred Molina credit too, because he is hilarious.
Yes.
Like it's at certain parts in this role. The one line that comes to mind is right when he's doing the experiment. He's like, "By the way, did anybody find a roll of $20 bills and a rubber band?" Yeah, because we found the rubber band.
It's boss. It's good.
It's so funny,
and he pulls it off.
He is so well. Good.
Yeah. He self-deprecates immediately after that, talking about how bad that joke was, and then just goes straight into his speech afterwards. And I just love the way he did it. It just felt, as you say, so natural. But I I think he's a fantastic villain. And I think that's one of the reasons that we got so excited when we were getting them all back.
Oh yeah, for No Way Home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
between him and Willem Dafoe, like that's what got everybody with their bums in the seats at the cinema straight off. I know there was always the talks of having the 3 Spider-Men and stuff, but just those initial trailers where you didn't even see anybody, you heard the laugh, you saw the goblin bomb, and you saw the arms. That was literally all you got to begin with, and then that just built it up so much, and it was because of everybody's love of their original portrayal. And I think that again just speaks volumes with it.
Yeah,
and like outside of probably Willem Dafoe, like Willem Dafoe in No Way Home was like one of the greatest villain performances I've ever seen in a movie ever. Yeah, but like, I mean, if I can go off a quick tangent for a second, I think he took what he did in the Raimi movies and just took it to a whole new level. I think getting rid of the mask was the best decision ever for him to let Willem Dafoe actually be Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
But what Alfred Molina did in those movies is still some of the best stuff I've ever seen to this day. I mean, he was so good as Doc Ock, and you could tell that he loves this stuff. Like one of my favorite things, if you've ever seen the gag reel or the blooper reel from that movie, he just looks like he is having so much fun.
He's just constantly laughing, isn't he? Like just big grin on his face at all times, like just enjoying every moment that he's there.
I remember like bust out in the fiddler on the roof at one point, and like he was just having such a blast doing that movie. Like he was so good. Like his behind the scenes stuff is almost better than his actual Doc Ock performance.
But it's exactly what the average person would do.
Yeah.
While they've got the downtime in between, like. You just wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. You're on a Spider-Man movie, which comic book movies weren't even as big back then. But even then, it's just like look what I'm doing.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? I saw an interview with him today because I think he did an interview with Vanity Fair a couple of days ago. I don't know what he's promoting, but I know they've interviewed him, and he was saying that he'd never done anything like this at all. It was all like bit parts, more serious roles, so it was all very new to him. But once he got into this world, he absolutely adored it, so that when he got asked to come back from No Way Home, it was just like no-brainer. Love the character, love this type of thing. I'll go for it. And he said that when he went for the role, he did like screen tests and stuff like that. He was like convinced he wasn't right for this because he's like, I've never done green screen. I'm not into action. I don't do stunty type things or anything like that. And he got set up, and they set him up in this like mock suit and all that sort of stuff. And he said he didn't really feel it, and he said he could tell from the looks and everybody else's faces they weren't really feeling it either. And then Avi Arad came up to him, took his sunglasses off his head, and gave them to Alfred Molina and said, "Put them on." And he put the glasses on, and he instantly felt, "Oh, this is it." And he said he could see everybody was like, "That's it. That's Doc Ock.
Crazy.
That is Doc Ock." And it's purely from the sunglasses. And but it is. It's like the look that you think of Alfred Molina and Doc Ock is that look from the poster with the sunnies, isn't it? You know, like just
100%
proper menacing.
Yeah,
absolutely terrifying.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And the thing with the character as well, it's not just Doc Ock as a villain is one character and he is a villain, but it's two different characters, and I think this is what this did better than No Way Home. It's Otto Octavius, who is a good guy, and obviously, he's got a good villain arc. He's lost Rosie, who dies. That scene when the glass all shatters at his wife, phenomenal scene.
So good.
Again, down to Raimi, but it's Otto Octavius, and it's the suit, it's the arms. They are very much their own. I was going to say character.
Well, I forgot he actually has conversations with them.
Yeah.
Like, I'd forgotten about that in the movie. And when I watched it back, and I was like, he's literally talking to them.
He is talking to them. Yeah. And they've got their own mannerisms. Yeah. They look like raptors from Jurassic Park. And it's like...
They do. They feel like it.
They do, don't they? They feel menacing. They feel like they are they are these monsters dragging this dude.
And they don't have a word. Like they don't talk or
a...
anything. But just, the sounds that they make is just like, you can tell these things have a mind of their own, literally. And they're like the way they influence him.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, what Raimi did with just that is just peak stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
100%.
And even when you see him in the fights as well, because I watched this with my son, I watched this with Jake, who's 11, and I was pointing it out to him, and it's like, even when Doc is, so for instance, like after that, I've got to go back to the operation table scene because that is just one of the best. It is brilliant, to be fair. We'll come back to that in a minute. But when he gets out of that and he like flips the taxi, and then when he's robbing the bank and when he's fighting Spidey on the train, all that sort of stuff, he's not doing any of it. it's all the arms.
Yeah.
To the point where, and it's
Mhm.
obviously from a physics perspective as well, but anytime, say, like he's grabbing Spidey or he's throwing bags of money or anything like that, there's 2 arms on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 arms are doing the fighting,
Yeah.
which just shows,
Yeah.
obviously, from a strength perspective, Otto Octavius isn't having to carry any of that strength,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's purely the arms doing all this. Otto's just along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I did have a nitpicky moment for that. So
Go
in
on.
the bank scene,
Yeah,
he gets smashed in the face with some coins there, right?
he does. Yeah.
Now,
He does.
he's
Yeah.
not Spider-Man. He doesn't have super strength. You know, he doesn't have anything like that. He's just a man, and it's the suit that makes him Doc Ock.
Yes.
So when he got
Yeah.
smashed in the face with a massive bag of coins, I was like,
That hit him dead on.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have just gone, oof. I'd have recoiled. I'd have been crying in the corner.
No, I know.
The
Yeah.
arms may have still been fighting, but I'd have just been
I mean, that's
just crying into my hands.
No, you would.
that
'cause
was
that would have been
that thing's
bloody
probably like
painful.
100 pounds of coins
Yeah.
just smacking him in the face. So
Yeah.
That
yeah,
would have been
that's
so
a
painful.
and he was like 50 already when he did that movie.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a young dude taking that kind
No.
of hit.
No,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
at all. See, I can remember thinking that when I watched the movie when I was younger. I can remember thinking Spidey can literally, he can lift the car, just hit him in the face,
Right.
and he's out.
Yeah,
But I would say now, thinking about it more, he's not got the chance to sit there and go, "Wow, that friggin' hurts," because
Yeah.
the claws, the arms have completely taken over him.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
won't let him sit there and go, "Oh," they're not going to show like a bloody broken nose because it's a 12.
Yeah.
It was the first 12A. Oh no, Spider-Man 1 was. Spider-Man 1 was the first 12A in the UK.
Was it?
They created 12As in the UK, yeah, which
Yeah.
is your PG-13. We didn't have
Wow,
we didn't
okay.
have that. We had PG, which was basically if you're under 12,
Right.
you can't watch it, and then 12.
Yeah.
And they created 12As so that parents could take under 12s into it. But literally, it was made for Spider-Man. Gone off on a tangent, but
and the hands out again.
yeah, and the hands out, being like, yeah. I do this all day in work, but yeah, you can't have that level of graphic violence in it. But I
Yeah.
would put it down to the fact that those arms are still doing all the fighting.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just that they're just attached to him. They don't even really need him.
No.
He's just there.
No,
They can't run off on
he's
their
just a
own.
vessel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He runs them basically. But yeah. So let's go back to the operation table scene.
Okay.
It literally. I mean, all
Just
the
from
signs
that
like
slow
Evil Dead.
swing,
Oh, it's so
that
good.
little moment where the top just swings and then it stops instantly, and then the doctors are just silent, looking round. It's like it gave me Alien vibes.
It did me as well.
Does that make sense? So it's that thing of you can hear it, you can't see
actually.
it. It goes silent, and then suddenly it's just chaos. And it just gave me very much the Alien vibes, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, pure horror.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that is Sam Raimi at his finest because he's a horror movie director.
Yeah,
like
100%.
first and foremost, more than anything, I mean, with Evil Dead and everything. But I mean, that just let Sam Raimi be Sam Raimi.
Yes,
and,
totally.
And he took it to a whole new level with that scene. I mean, that was some really, really scary stuff.
yeah,
But like you said, you can hear it, but you can't see it. And like when I think it's the scariest, honestly, when it's like dead silent.
yes.
And like right before he does the buzzsaw again and everything.
Yeah.
He's trying to chop the arms off, but then it just gets insane. And I love that scene.
Yeah.
He does anticipation very well.
Yes.
It's the moment before the thing happens that he captures fantastically, and that's what I really like about
Yeah,
it.
like it reminds me of the moment, like another Raimi movie in Multiverse of Madness, like when Strange and them are in the sewer waiting for Wanda to come out.
Oh,
When they just
yeah.
go back and forth between like the empty hall and then to Strange's face and then America Chavez's face and everything. It feels like he holds that for like 5 minutes before Wanda comes back in, and he's so good at doing that.
Yeah,
See, I couldn't remember. While I was sitting there thinking, then we were talking about the operating table scene, I was like, we didn't get anything scary in Multiverse of Madness. I've only watched it once, but now, yeah, I remember.
oh god,
The Wanda scene was cracking.
all of Wanda's bits were very
Scary.
scary. Like even her battle with the Illuminati and everything. Like that fight was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant
Brutal.
fight. To be fair, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But it's just Sam Raimi all over in
He's
it.
so good.
Yeah.
we're
It's got
completely
Sam Raimi written all over.
sold now on Sam Raimi doing don't write it, but yeah, I mean maybe, yeah, but you know what I mean. So let's come back to some characters,
Okay.
because I want to sort of, before we just get into like the final scenes and stuff
Yeah.
like that, because again towards the end the scenes are just incredible. Let's talk about
Mhm.
Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson. She's the only proper Mary Jane really, because MJ in Tom Holland's isn't really MJ. She's like a reimagining of it, and she's fantastic.
Right.
And then we had Gwen, Emma Stone. But what do we think of Richard? What do we think of Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane Watson?
Well, side note, she was one of my first movie crushes because like the original Spider-Man, the first one from Raimi, is like one of the first movies that I really like vividly remember seeing in theaters. I've said this a bunch because I was 11 when that came out, and and seeing Mary Jane was I mean, for an 11-year-old kid, that was something.
Yeah.
But But even looking back on it, I think she does a good job with the role. Like, I don't know if we'll ever get like a totally comic accurate, like to the detail Mary Jane.
Yeah.
But I really like what she did with the role.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially in number 2, I think they gave her some of her best stuff in number 2.
Okay.
More so than just being the damsel in distress and like having
she had a backbone
all the time.
In the second one.
I'm the other way. I think she was better in 1 and 3.
Oh, really?
I think she was a bit. She was in this one. In number 1, I think it was just absolutely spot on. Mary Jane. She was quite cocky, quite arsey. She was the popular girl, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
She was very much like that in number 3 as well. And she got there in number 2, but I feel like for the first 3/4 of the movie, she was just a bit mopey and she didn't have that edge to her. I don't find for the first bit. And I've written this down, and it wasn't until towards the end of the end battle when her top got wet and the nipples started showing, like in number 1, that she got arsey again. It wasn't until
it was like she was fuming about her getting her top wet.
Well, no, it was one of them. It was like I don't care what anybody says, that is all intentional. Mary Jane in the rain I keep saying episode 1 in Spider-Man 1. That whole thing was intentional. There was a huge big palaver over it. It was like, is this suitable for a kid's movie? It's probably why it was a 12A, and they had to get that back in for number 2, which again was only at the end. But I feel like there was a drastic change in her personality at that point in the movie.
Right, okay.
But I still think she's good, but it was very like polar opposites.
It's funny when you said about her being your first crush. This is how I knew I was a gay kid, because the first thing I thought was I saw her and said, "That's Judy from Jumanji." But I actually I enjoyed her portrayal as Mary Jane more when I was younger than when I've watched it back now.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it at all. But I remember enjoying her performance as MJ a lot more last time. And
Is it because you've seen more? Like if you go to Emma Stone as Gwen, she was very fiery. So's Zendaya as MJ now.
Yeah.
And they are just, and again, that's my idea of MJ.
Yeah.
Like, face it
just
tidy,
having
hit
that
the
bit
jackpot,
more sass behind
proper
her.
cocky. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and sassy is probably a better way of saying it.
It is funny thinking about it. Like, Emma Stone was almost more MJ than like the MJ that we got.
I would agree.
And a quick side note, I've gained a new appreciation for the TASM movies. I mean, 2, they just tried to shove whatever they could in, and that just made it not a good movie. But Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield are actually fantastic in those roles. Like they were really good as Peter and Gwen.
100%.
I feel like you've got more, and I think it's taken us, and it's not to say Tom Holland or anybody from that universe is bad, but it's taken us leaving that universe behind to appreciate that universe.
Yeah.
And like imagine now if they announced the Amazing Spider-Man 3, it'd just be like massive news. It'd be up there with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4. Do you know what I mean?
That would make $1 billion easy.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas if they'd announced it a year after the Amazing Spider-Man 1, everyone would have been like, why? We don't want it. Give us a new Spider-Man.
Right.
So it's weird how the appreciation for it comes after it's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So we've had MJ, we've had Peter, we've had MJ. We've talked a lot about Dr. Octavius as well. I suppose the other 2 big characters, we've got Harry, who again just seems to be having fun with this.
Yeah.
What do you not like?
I've got a problem with him in this one.
Okay, what?
Overacting.
Do you reckon?
Oh, God wants to punch him in the face all the way through.
I was about to say when, but yeah, you did.
I liked him in the first one, and I do like him in the third one. I know there's a lot to complain about in the
third one.
No, you see, I think he's more mopey in this one. The one scene where I really enjoyed was him slapping Peter.
That was good.
That was a very good scene. I forgot that happened.
Yeah, the party.
It was like 2 slaps, wasn't it, in the middle of the party? And I was like, Jesus.
He smacked him in the face good.
But I don't know, I felt like he was just spent the whole time doing the titty lip.
Yeah, I mean, he was quite mopey in this one as well when you think about it. But I don't know. I think I think from the perspective, just looking at what Franco did with the part,
Yeah.
he did what he needed to do.
Yeah,
with the part.
Yeah.
They had him as a big character in number one. They clearly knew to a degree what they wanted to do with him in number 3, and number 2 was kind of just keeping the character relevant enough to get to number 3.
Yeah,
and he could have just been just some dude sat in the background, but a mixture of the writers, Raimi, Franco, they kept him relevant enough, and they kept that storyline from sort of just completely falling into the background.
Yeah.
I think he's a good Harry Osborn. I think he's a good Harry Osborn, James Franco.
He's a really good Harry Osborn. He's probably my favourite because we had
Dane DeHaan. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely better than Dane DeHaan. But again, it's just what Dane DeHaan was given to do with the role, wasn't it?
No offense to Dane DeHaan. They did not know what they were doing in that movie.
No,
not at all.
But I must admit, my favourite scene for James Franco was standing in the mirror in front of William Dafoe.
Oh, that whole end, that ending was phenomenal.
As soon as you started hearing that laugh again, just echoing around the building, I was like, here it is again. And that scene was just phenomenal, and it was the perfect setup.
It was
perfect setup.
That was the first post-credit scene.
Yeah.
But it wasn't post-credits, it was pre-credits.
Yeah.
But it just felt like a really good...
It was the first one that felt like a post-credit scene.
It felt like a really good MCU post-credit scene.
Yeah.
But obviously it didn't have that tradition at that stage.
Yeah.
But he nailed it, and getting Willem Dafoe back was amazing, because I don't think anybody expected it going into it. You didn't know Willem Dafoe was coming back for that role. So before we sort of finish scenes, let's talk one other big character.
Come on.
J.K. Simmons as JJ.
Couldn't go without talking
Is
about
there
him.
any better casting?
No.
Ever?
No.
There is literally nothing else to say.
Here's what I can say about J.K. Simmons. You know the PlayStation Spider-Man games?
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me about J. Jonah Jameson in those games, I feel like it's a J.K. Simmons impression. Like,
yes.
It's just a J.K. Simmons wannabe, because we talk about the perfect castings for like Marvel characters. You got like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I'll throw in Iman Vellani as Ms. Marvel too. J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Peak.
I cannot imagine anybody else playing that role now. Like, even after J.K. Simmons is gone, I can't imagine anybody else playing him.
No. I mean, do you remember your reaction at the end of Spider-Man 2? What was that one called? No,
just seen. Oh, No Way Home.
Yeah, no, Far From Home.
Oh, Far From Home.
When he came on in that post-credit scene, and just
oh my god, that was amazing.
And that I don't think we knew, did we? I don't think.
No, I think it was a surprise. Yeah,
and that was just the most phenomenal out of the blue surprise I think we'd ever had. And I remember sitting in the audience for that in the cinema, and everyone just being like, "No fucking way."
Yeah.
Like, it was literally that kind of response. Everyone was just absolutely gobsmacked and in awe, and it was amazing, and I loved it.
I think he's better in these ones than he is in I think he's got a too dark an edge to him in the Tom Holland ones. He's a different character. He's playing the same character, but a different variant clearly of that character.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get as much time with him.
But he didn't have that. The main thing about JK as JJ is the comedy aspect. It's that laugh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the deleted scene which everyone's seen of him jumping around in the Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's that. It's the call Deborah, the caterer, telling her to open the caviar. It's that sort of thing. He's just so good at it. And he's the RC boss who will do anything for a story, clearly.
Yeah.
But that's all he is in No Way Home and Far From Home. He needs to be the comedy aspect as well.
Yeah.
And I hope if they bring him back, we get a bit more of that. Do you know what? We just need to let him do what he wants to do. Just give it to J.K. Simmons and say,
absolutely.
Because obviously there's rumours at the moment that Tom Holland is coming back for the fourth one now. And I'm wondering whether he decides to go and work for him as his day job.
And
that's where it comes in, so that we get a bit more of him.
Because
that'd be brilliant. Because it's kind of like that keep your enemies closer, isn't it? Because he already knows what he would be like if he knew who he was. So it's go and work for him and make sure that I'm pushing him off the centre all times. So it'd make perfect sense at this point for him to go and do a kind of little apprentice job in the mailroom or something for now, kind of thing, and then get the photography afterwards.
That makes me want J.K. Simmons back for Spider-Man 4 even more now, because I think that's really the biggest difference between this Jonah and the one from the Raimi movies, is that he knows we get him the first time we see him in the MCU, he already knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
So we don't get that whole like figure out who Spider-Man is and, reveal himself and everything.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we actually get that now that the whole world's forgotten who Spidey is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that makes me want him. Like,
Yeah.
He needs to be a big part of Spider-Man 4. I want to see him working at the Bugle. I want to see him doing the thing that Toby did. And like, and my last thing on him too, like, you remember how he wasn't in the Amazing Spider-Man movies? We just got those emails from him with Andrew Garfield's. It was just the messages from him in his emails.
Oh yeah.
I read those in J.K. Simmons' voice.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's how that's how tied to this character J.K. Simmons is. And I want him to play J. Jonah Jameson for as long as he possibly
can.
He needs to, And I think that's probably why. I think you hit the nail on the head. That's why he's got that edginess to him, because he's got that added level of cockiness to him in No Way Home, and it's because he knows. It's because he knows who Spider-Man is. He's won. He's already won at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas in
totally
in Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, he hasn't. He doesn't know. So he's still got that sort of level of fragility.
Yeah.
And I think if we can get to see him not knowing who he is, and seeing the real him behind the whole bravado, like sitting at the desk with no pants on, do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. I think we can get back to that character.
Definitely.
So good. Love him. We just need more of him. I could watch the J.K. Simmons, J.J. Jameson.
Oh,
do you know what? Actually, I was about to start talking scenes. I could watch a Disney Plus series of J.J.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I could watch a
Daily
Bugle
I would pay money
series.
to watch that.
Yeah.
Just call it the Bugle.
Yeah. With really, really shitty D-list Spider-Man villains.
Yeah.
Yeah. And him trying to solve the crimes.
100%. And then the villain turns out to be some really crazy cameo of somebody that you would never expect in a million years. A bit like a Scooby-Doo mask reveal.
Yeah.
And then it's really random, A-list celebs just for 30 seconds.
I've got this. It's JJ, Betty Brant, and Robbie.
Yeah.
It's just Scooby-Doo. And every week there's a D-list Marvel villain.
Yeah.
And it's them solving the case. I could do 8 episodes of that.
100%.
That would be amazing.
Feige, so funny.
Richard, you've got links. Next time you see Feige at one of the premieres, pitch him that, but just tell him it was my idea.
Hey, I'm still waiting for the Randall Park Kat Dennings X-Files thing from WandaVision.
Yeah. That type of thing. Yeah, let's do that.
Love it.
There you go. Let's focus on that sort of thing. Anyway, right, let's talk scenes. We've already talked some of the scenes. The rest of the biggies sort of come at the end. Obviously, there's the apartment building on fire scene, which is great. But there's the bank scene that we talked about.
Yeah.
Doc Ock getting his powers and all that, his suit, that sort of thing. But it all starts to really kick into another gear from when Peter and MJ go to that cafe. And MJ tells Peter that she loves him. And obviously there's the whole, my mind was playing tricks on me and my mind was playing tricks on me too, all that sort of stuff. And then it's when the spider sense kicks back in.
Yes.
And the taxi comes through the window.
So good.
And that was in the trailer. I
remember that being in the trailer as well.
And it was this is going to be intense.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
As soon as that slowed down into the slow motion, I was phenomenal. Love this.
I could literally talk every shot of every scene now for the rest of the movie. But we will be here for hours.
And can I just give Sam Raimi credit too for using slow-mo perfectly in the movie? Because obviously for Spider-Man stuff, you need stuff like that for the Spidey sense and everything. But like a quick diversion to the first movie, the scene where he first uses his Spidey sense against the in the fight with Flash. And you see the little fly and the spitball and the punch coming toward him. That was some just A-list stuff. And then in number 2, again, when he gets Mary Jane out of the way from the car going into the cafe. Oh my God. I mean, Sam Raimi just does slow motion. I mean, just perfectly. It's not too much of it. And what he does with it is perfect.
100%.
It's amazing. And then after that, when the build-ups come in and it's there's a thud, there's a poof, and then it shoots into MJ and Peter, and then it goes back outside and it goes back into MJ and Peter.
Right.
And the camera shakes every time and it gets a little bit closer, takes a step closer to them every time. It's just, again, so things that you don't appreciate when you're younger, and I don't think most people appreciate, but it's only when you sit there and you try to actually watch something and review it and make notes, you're like, that's good. That's really, really phenomenal. Good. And it's so things that 99% of people are not going to notice.
And again,
at all.
what you've got to remember is, this was one of the landmark superhero movies as well. This was before everybody was doing it. These were kind of everything that's come has become off the back of that since then, and developing those ideas further. These are where those ideas first came from.
Yes.
So people were doing landmark stuff that had literally never been done before.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how meticulous they were at the beginning to make it the movie that it needed to be.
Yes.
And that's what impresses me so much with it.
And where we come from, because we talked about this last week, and we had this thing, or I had this thing anyway, where I was trying to sell the fact that Batman and Robin is the greatest Batman movie ever, and we agreed that it had done the greatest thing because after that movie, that's when things changed, because that was a perfect example of just, we want to sell toys, we want to do a superhero movie, just throw loads of shit in there and it's fine. And this has probably got more stories going on than that did. But every scene was meticulously planned out and produced. And it was, you can't just throw crap and expect it to be good. You've got to plan out everything, and everything needs to be like, it's got to work like clockwork. And we're probably getting to the point now where it's not working like clockwork, but hopefully we're going to pull that back, as we were discussing earlier on. But this was like the peak of, we're going to put 100% maximum effort into this movie. It can't just be a kids comic book Spider-Man movie. It's got to appeal to everybody. And that's so evident then when you get to the next scene. So the clock tower scene, which leads into probably one of the most iconic scenes as well, the train scene. Which is just it's the scene that everybody remembers.
100%.
Go on, what do you think?
Right, so here's one of my other weird things.
You're gonna start. You can't have a go at the train scene.
No, okay. I'm not having a go. It's something that you'll probably take the piss out of me at some point over.
Okay.
I love a runaway train in a movie.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds dead daft, but I love stuff like that.
So hey, fair enough.
Dragons.
Dinosaurs, dragons, and trains. Runaway trains, though. It's not just trains, runaway trains.
Okay.
No, but like, what was the film with Liam Neeson? Was it Unstoppable or something with that train? Yeah. Oh, that was really good as well. Anyway, love a runaway train.
Unstoppable.
Just establishing this. Oh, I don't know then. I'm sure there's another one with
Chris
Liam Neeson.
Pine and Denzel?
Okay. I think there's another one with Liam
Neeson.
Yeah. But anyway.
Snakes on a train.
Yeah.
I absolutely love trains.
Okay.
Like in movies when it's out of control. So this and adding Spider-Man into the mix was like two of my favourite things coming together. So I was absolutely astounded when they did it, and I was like, no way, they're really going to do this. And then what made me laugh more than anything was his spider sense also, when you went out and followed the track all the way to the end.
Yes.
Like that whole bit, the way they did all that.
Sense picked up on that.
Yeah. They picked up on how much track is left.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it seemed so mad, but it was so good. And then the fact that you just got every possible attempt to stop the train all different ways, using his strength, using the webs, using webs times 100, because that ends up what he did, wasn't it? Because he used just the two and it wasn't working, so he just did as many as he could.
Shooting as many as he can.
Yeah. But for me, the biggest thing about that scene was everyone saving him.
Yes.
Like, it's such a pivotal moment, and it's, he's been going through the existential crisis all the way through this film, and they literally stand there and say he's just a kid.
Yeah.
Like, and then the fact that Doc Ock turns up and they all say, you've got to go through me first. And they know there's no way they could take this absolute beast with four mechanical arms.
He just ripped a train door, like literally.
Yeah. And they all still blocked him. And
they tried.
Yeah. And that, for me, that was just such an amazing moment.
Powerful.
Yeah. Especially for him. Like, as I say, he's had this existential crisis, and he, there's parts of him that thinks everybody hates him because of the way the Bugle's portraying him and all of that kind of stuff. Yet you see this train full of people that have just witnessed him do everything that he can to save them, and they've gone, it's only fair that we do the same for you now.
Yeah.
And that, for me, is just a beautiful full circle, and I just really enjoyed that entire scene. So, and
even like the kid who's like, we won't tell nobody.
Yeah,
when they see him without his
so
mask on, it's like that's just like the quintessential Spider-Man moment, because when they realize that he is just like everybody else under the mask. I mean, maybe he has the super strength and the webs and, you know, all the crazy stuff, but and when it comes down to it, he's just a kid.
Yes. It's full circle to what we said at the start, isn't it? He's just like, apart from the superpowers and everything like that, he's just like everybody else, and that's why people love Spider-Man.
Totally.
Now, can I do my one nitpicky moment though?
Yeah, go on.
And it's not to do with the train
All
itself.
Right. Okay.
So you get a close-up of him holding his webs.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it looks shit. I'm so sorry. It
Which
really
bit?
does. It's whatever they've used for the prop as the web.
Oh, the plastic.
You can just see that it's just like a plasticky thing.
Okay.
Now, I've got to admit, it did just take me out of it for
Did
a
it
moment.
really?
Yeah.
Did
because
the face bring you back?
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger face.
I think it's again, it's because it's been a long time since I last watched it, to be fair.
Yeah.
And again, you know, last time I watched it, I was watching it because I enjoyed it. Whereas this time I'm watching it and I'm kind of taking mental notes as I go through it and reviewing it and all of that kind of stuff. And the camera angle that they do, you're actually closest to his hand.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I noticed.
And you can see it all sticking out of the side of his hand. And I just, as soon as I saw it, I was like,
just looks
like licorice. Looks like you could have a little nibble on it.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
And that's that. I went, that's a shame. And then I went straight back into it, but it just for that split second just took me out of the moment, and that was probably my one negative for that entire scene, because everything else about it is phenomenal.
Yeah,
the great. CGI for 2004, brilliant, absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you could go back and watch it now, and there's still bits where you go, oh, you can tell, but it's very, very good for the time.
You know, even like when you talk about the bad CGI stuff, like when Doc Ock throws those couple of people from when he's on the top of the train, and Spidey catches him and puts the web under him, that doesn't necessarily look great.
No.
But I mean, the fact that they were able to do stuff like that in 2004 is impressive of itself. I mean, that was 20 years ago, and some of these movies today haven't been able to do stuff like that.
No, a lot of the CG, especially with both with Toby and Alfred Molina, when it's them like close up, it's very like Neo versus Agent Smith in the Matrix. It's very like plasticine, plasticine men. The other thing that'll take, and I noticed this a few years back, when you've got like a fight scene where it's on green screen, or probably not green screen at the time, blue screen.
Yeah.
Spidey's suit is black and red. And then when it's either CG or he's not filming a stunt in front of a green screen, it's the blue and red. So on that train, all the time, Spidey's suit is black and red rather than blue and red.
Oh, do you know what?
But you didn't notice, did you?
No.
It's only from watching it. I must have watched this film like 100 times. It's only from watching it so many times. That I was like, he's got a different color. It's a different color suit. They'd get away with it because it's a dark enough blue the rest of the time. Do you know what I mean? But it's
for sure.
It's just those things that they have to do. Yeah. But again, you're so engrossed in that movie that you don't notice, and it doesn't take you out of it.
Yeah.
So there's one more sort of big scene then. The fight, which was the final battle in the boat warehouse in the docks. Richard, what do you think of this as a final battle for a superhero movie? Is it big enough? Is it too subtle? Is it?
You know, I think for this franchise, I think it was the perfect way to do it. I mean, especially like for the character. I mean, because we've seen so many massive Spider-Man fights, like in the years since, and even the Goblin fight in the movie before it, you know, was on the middle of a bridge and he was trying to save a train car full of people and everything. I thought this was like the perfect level of, you know, perfect scale for a movie like this, especially, you know, with what happens after when, you know, MJ realizes that it's Peter under the mask and like Dr. Octavius and Peter realize it's each other and everything. Like it's a perfect setting for like how intimate those moments are.
Yes.
And you've got the whole tritium ball like burning in the background and everything. Cause like when you think about that scene, it's actually like a really dangerous situation for the entirety of New York City. I mean, the entirety of New York City could be sucked into this experiment at any given moment.
Yeah.
So it really is like a big scale in a small setting. And I thought Sam Raimi did such a good job with it. I mean, honestly, my only complaint about it, just for once, I'd love one of these final battles to be in the day. Like, just
and it's narrated.
Just one. Yeah, exactly. Like the only time I was thinking about this the other day, the only Spider-Man movie final battle that has actually been during the daytime, ironically enough, was Spider-Man Far From Home. The final battle with Mysterio on the, I think it was the Tower Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah. But they are always a night, yeah.
like that,
I've literally just been playing them all in my
every
head.
single,
And I've gone, there have been battles in the
every
day, but it's
single
not
one-
been the final battle. It's always
Yes.
been like the midway
Yeah.
bit.
yeah, every single
Yeah.
final battle. Otherwise, the final one between Goblin and him, the final one between Sandman and Harry and him. You know, the lizard battle, the other Goblin battle, the one in Coney Island, and then the No Way Home one.
Yeah,
Every last one of them.
yeah.
You are totally right.
Probably
It
because
was-
it's easier to get away with some green screen stuff or something, maybe.
Yeah, on the black. You
Easier
can't
on
tell
the
black,
CGI.
Yeah.
black and red.
Absolutely.
blue and red
Yeah.
suit. I think you're right though.
Yeah.
It didn't, when I was watching it, I did feel a bit like, especially off the back of the clock tower and the train scene, this felt a lot more subdued, this
Yeah.
scene. But I think that's what it was supposed to be, more intimate. He's not beating Doc Ock by beating the living shit out of him.
It's a redemption arc.
He's beating him by reasoning with him. And
Yeah.
Doc Ock is actually
As a
beating the
person.
yeah. Doc Ock's beating the robot arms at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then you've got the whole, like you said, you've got the whole thing with MJ sort of not discovering, but getting the confirmation that she already suspected that he
Yeah.
is Spider-Man. And I think it was a really nice scene in that respect.
Yeah. Cheesy as it is, it's kind
Totally.
of that the love wins type thing though, isn't it?
But
I know that's exactly what I thought before I said it. But that's it, it's like it's what they've gone for, isn't it? Because the only real battle is between Doc Ock and his own arms.
yeah,
Like,
the battle within,
yeah.
it is. It was good though, to be
It was
fair.
no, it was good. And as I say, you get a redemption arc. So essentially it's him then sacrificing himself to save New York City,
Yeah.
which is the best redemption that a villain could have.
Yeah.
He may
It
have
just shows-
caused it,
Yeah,
but he also
absolutely.
stopped it. You know what I mean?
But
So-
but again, it wasn't him. It was the arms.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't him. I think we sort of covered everything.
Yeah.
The only question I'd have, we'll go Richard first.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, maybe pre like Infinity War and Endgame, had this sort of pitched as definitely the best Spider-Man movie ever, but probably one of, if not the best comic book movies ever. Do you think that's right? Where does it sort of sit within your sort of like list?
I can't disagree. Like, I've ranked my MCU movies and everything a few times, but I've never ranked like all superhero movies over the course of the last 25, 30 years or something. So
Yeah.
it's a hard pick, but if I had to like rank it, I'd say even to this day, I think it's an easy top 10, top 15 comic book movie ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the Infinity Wars, you've got the End Games, the No Way Homes. Like for me, some of my other favorite ones are like Guardians 3 I think is almost
Love that.
perfect.
I've still
Yeah.
only
And
seen
you've
that
got,
once, you know.
Have you?
Yeah, I've still
Me
only
too.
seen that one in the picture.
Me too, actually.
Need to watch it again.
And I love Guardians 3. That's
Yeah.
like a top 3 MCU movie for me. But and then like you go to the DC side, you've got like your Wonder Womans and your Dark Knights and everything. But I think Spider-Man 2 still ranks up there,
Yeah.
like amongst the top superhero movies ever. I mean, I think for me, in terms of just Spider-Man movies, I'd say it's at least number 2 or 3 behind. I mean, I think for me, No Way Home just clears everything out of the water.
Yeah.
I debate between, because some days I like Homecoming, I think maybe a little bit more, but I respect the hell out of both of them. I think they're so close I could switch them
Yeah.
off if
Yeah.
I wanted to. Homecoming and this one.
What do you
Fair.
think, Anthony? Where would you sort of peg it?
I
Both
mean,
comic book movies and Spider-Man movies.
so Spider-Man movies. Now, again, you know, I've grown up with all 3 Spider-Men.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I've got to say, I mean, for me, Tom Holland has been my favorite Spider-Man overall.
Okay.
So
Same.
although I do
Same.
think it's up there, for me, the top 3 for me are the Tom Holland ones.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All 3, okay.
yeah, and I can't even tell you what it is. I think just the balance overall, and I think that Tom Holland smashed the clumsiness, and again, it's the youthful nature of him being
Right.
Spider-Man. And don't forget, you know, he got thrown into this. We didn't get the origin story, which I loved because we've had it to death.
Yeah,
We literally
exactly.
we got him meeting, and this sounds horrible, real superheroes, because the
Yeah.
first time we got introduced to him was Civil War. So
Yeah.
he's come into like these seasoned heroes that are saving the planet every day and all of that kind of stuff. and he's just excited to do a meet and greet. Do you know what I mean? Like that's essentially feels like what
He's
he's
excited to be there.
yeah, what he's there for. Like, and he just can't help but to compliment everyone on their fighting skills and all of that kind of stuff, and then apologize when he hits them. Like, you know, it's that kind of thing, and that I just fell in love with immediately because he felt out of his own league there. Do you know what I mean? And then to get his own and him, you know, facing bigger threats now and stuff like that, you still got that. You really, I feel like in the Tom Holland ones more than any of the others, you found that he was really trying to be a kid and have his friends and do the university thing and, you know, all of that. He was really trying to kind of have that life, but also still had that need to save the city at all times. And I'm somebody who likes to go on a journey with a character, and I feel like I've gone on the best journey with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's why that's at the top. But I'd say that Spider-Man 2 is up there, like literally just behind.
Okay, so
does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I think it depends on what you mean by the best. I think if it's like if you look at Oscar movies, like clearly not this type of movie. Oscar movies are nominated for Oscars because they are the best made movies.
Yeah.
In theory, that's how it should be. They're not the sort of movies that you go to the cinema to have a good time with necessarily. Some of them might be, but they're the best movies. And whilst I don't think I can think of Marvel movies that I've probably enjoyed more than this, like Endgame, Infinity War, you know, massive movies.
Yeah.
And like the first Spider-Verse movie, if I'm looking at it purely from the best movie, I think this is probably, I wouldn't necessarily say number one, but I think this is probably above them in when you look at how like meticulously done this is, how they sort of intertwine these complementing stories all the way through, the shots, the transitions.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of the best made movies. That I've seen.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think it definitely deserves like the top 3 best comic book movies in my opinion. But that's why the listeners voted for it, because it is one of my most iconic, and I think it's one of the ones that you do think of when you think what are some of the best Spider movies ever, or best comic book movies ever. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I feel I'd now normally go back and watch number 3, but I don't want to watch number 3. Okay.
The second you say number 3, it's just I see the dancing and I can't bring myself to do it.
How disappointing is number 3 off the back of this?
Oh my god, totally.
I was so excited for number 3. That's when I got into them, like following the news and stuff.
The only good thing that came from the dancing scene in 3 was that they did it in Spider-Verse, and that I think was just one of the best things I've ever seen. And I did this.
Hopefully we can get a Spidey 4. And my understanding is that Raimi, he did not want to do Spider-Man 3, but he had his idea for Spider-Man 3, and Sony came in and went, no, we want to do, because he didn't want to do Venom. Didn't want Venom at all.
No.
They came in and were like, right, we want to do Venom, toys, money, all that sort of stuff. It'll sell. And they went down that route. And Sam Raimi just went, I think Sam Raimi was contracted for 4 or 5. And he thought, but apparently from what I've read, he didn't want to do this anymore. So he just made the biggest mess that he could for Spider-Man 3.
Out of 3?
Yeah. And then went, I can do a number 4 if you want, guys. And they went, no, it's fine, Sam, you go. You can go. You can leave now. Yeah. So, which is well played. But yeah, sound. Episode 100, done. Episode 100 review, done. And Richard, thank you very much for coming on and joining us.
Really appreciate it. It's nice having a third person to bounce off.
It is good, isn't it? Yeah. He's dead irritating after a while.
How rude is that?
I wouldn't have got to episode 100 if you were that irritated, would I? Seriously. Richard, can you tell listeners where they can find you? You know, your articles, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. Oh, sorry, X.
Yeah, Twitter. I'm sorry. It's
I
just posted this the other day. I think I shared something like, who still calls it X? Literally nobody calls it that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just Twitter. So let them know where they can find you, what you're up to, before we let you go.
Yeah, no, and thank you guys so much again for having me. I mean, it's a blast talking to you. Hopefully we'll get to do this more often, because I mean, twice in 3 years feels like way too late. Because you guys are great. But yeah, for those of you who want to find me, I write for thedirect.com. It's just The Direct, and You'll probably find one of my articles there if you're on the site long enough. Like I said, I just passed 4,000 articles written the other day, which crazy number for me, but I'm writing every day. You can find me on Twitter at Richard Nebens, Nebens is the last name. I'm also on Instagram. I have a TikTok profile. I don't know what I want to do with it yet, but I'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can keep up with me there. I share my articles pretty often, my thoughts on movies and everything. I'll hopefully be seeing a lot of movies this year, and 2024 should be a big year. And keep an eye out for me also on our website's podcast, the Direct Podcast. David Thompson and Matt Remke do a fantastic job with that show. I join them every once in a while.
Amazing. And
also want to shout out another site I write with now, part-time, Agents of Fandom.
Yeah.
Another incredibly cool site, an incredible group of people. I'm on their podcast once in a while. I just did a X-Men review for the last episode for X-Men 97. And again, check out X-Men 97 if you're not watching it already, because just top-notch Marvel stuff.
Amazing.
But yeah, you can check me out there, and can't wait to do this with you guys again. And thank you guys for having me.
No, amazing. Thanks for joining us, Richard.
You.
Cheers. Speaking a bit, should we do Pod Fans Assemble?
Yeah, let's do it.
Pod Fans Assemble.
So we asked you what you thought of Spider-Man 2. So with 0%, I mean, yeah.
You're right there, Andy.
I just had a real brain fart.
It's all right.
So 0%.
You've only been doing this for 100 episodes.
0% of you hated it.
Okay.
So there was no hate to
Good.
this.
Expected.
Which is nice.
Yes.
8% said it was okay.
Okay. You're
Which
wrong.
means a whopping 92% loved it.
Congratulations, you're all correct. It's a boss film.
Yeah.
We just told you how boss it was.
Which is, that's an overwhelmingly good score, to be fair, as well, because we don't often get that level.
No, I don't think we get many things.
Maybe,
that are
I think
at
that might be like the
90s.
third ever that we've
To
had.
go above 90.
Yeah.
Possibly. It's worth saying, episode 100, we've got loads of people sent in messages, but we've also been in touch with some of our old Pod Fans Assembles commenters who maybe haven't been in touch recently.
Yeah.
So we've got some classic
Amazing.
Pod fans in here.
Love this.
That you'll see. I've not read any of these messages. I've just sort of copied them and add them in so they're new to me. But we've got some cracking commenters in here.
So, movies for real.
Movies
so
for
that's
real,
one we
yeah.
haven't heard from in a while.
Yeah.
What do I think of Spider-Man 2? Literally is my childhood favourite superhero movie, by far, with one of the best villains of every Spider-Man movie out there. Really hope someday Sam Raimi can direct another Spider-Man movie because he gets the character.
100%.
Love it.
Wasn't on board with that, but I am now.
Creative Control said the greatest Spider-Man movie ever, period, with a fantastic gif of Tobey Maguire.
Toby's face. Toby's Arnie impression.
Totally. Ross Kiernan said timeless masterpiece.
I mean, that's a very nice, succinct way of summing it up. You're right.
Chat Tsunami said incredible superhero film. If you get by the cheesy elements and one or two very dated scenes, then it's a film that more superhero films should aspire to be like.
Totally agree. As
100%.
we said, put effort into it.
Yeah.
Don't just throw loads of shit and hope it's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Matt V has sent us a comment.
Matt V.
Been a while.
Matt V. It's worth noting. Matt V was on the show once, except he wasn't on the show because we lost the episode.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we figured this out now. Hopefully, Richard didn't sound like he was in a tunnel. But I won't know till I've edited it. But yeah, we'll get Matt back on the show.
Yeah, 100%. Official invite there, Matt.
There you go.
Even 20 years later, it's still the standard for what a superhero flick should be. Does Tobey Maguire look like he's 45 and should have alimony payments, a mortgage and child support payments? Yes.
That's what you said.
But it doesn't matter. The script is strong enough to overcome that. It's good that the Willem Dafoe cameo is without the Power Rangers mask he wore in the first one. He's scarier without it on.
He is scary without it on.
He is.
As
the
said,
grin that he does is frightening.
As said Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
Have you heard that song?
No.
You never heard that? Weird Al does, Piano Man by that dude. Who sang Piano Man?
Oh, I don't know.
Billy
I know what
Joel.
you mean. Yeah.
So Weird Al's done a Piano Man, but it's Spider-Man, and it's amazing.
Is it?
It's very, very
Okay,
good.
I'll have to look it
I'll show you when we finish recording, and I'll put a link in the description. It's cracking.
Okay. And Matt finished off by saying Sam Raimi crafted a legit masterpiece. It's everything a sequel should be.
Yeah, and then he did Spider-Man 3.
Here's another one I haven't heard for ages because I love the name. Bargain Bin Harley Quinn.
Bargain Bin Harley Quinn.
It's been a minute. Oh my God, Spider-Man 2. This stood as my favourite superhero movie of all time for about a decade. It's just perfect. I can remember bursting into tears when we see Mary Jane running from the wedding to be with Peter. So I guess this was the first superhero movie to make me cry.
Ah,
I like that.
yeah. We didn't really talk about that end bit when she ran away from the wedding.
No.
She's got like it's quite a deep moment because she goes to the apartment
Yeah.
and says like, go get him, Tiger, and then he swings off.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to her looking really, really down and upset,
Yeah.
as if to be like, what have I done?
Yeah.
I've gone with this. But that's, again, it's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
It's like that
And
that's
that's
the
a
last
legit
lingering
thing.
shot.
It's that whole moment of she loves him, she wants to be with him.
And then he's got to go off and fight crime.
But here's the fucking baggage again.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Do you know who
innit?
else we didn't talk about?
Who?
The landlord. Mr. Diktovich or whatever his name is. He learned. No, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He was almost up there with JK. Not quite, but
Yeah.
he's as iconic.
When he nabbed the $20
Yeah.
off him. Yeah. Desert of the Real podcast said, still probably the best comic book movie. But in an English class, we were reading The Importance of Being Earnest, and multiple wise students pointed out that this movie is heavily influenced by that play, which is why MJ is in it in the movie.
I mean, I don't know what that... I've heard of it. It's not like Ernest Goes to Camp or Ernest Goes
All
to
I
Jail.
can remember, right, I did English and I did a little bit about The Importance of Being Earnest, and all I can remember is the woman going, a handbag!
I don't know what
And
that
that's all
is.
I remember.
No. I feel like I need to watch it now, though. Definitely.
Anyway, Ken Wilson has commented and said Spider-Man 2 was for the longest time the best superhero film made. A lot of that was the chemistry between Maguire and Dunst, and iconic status was achieved with the kiss. It was only when Captain America Civil War came did SM2 have competition for the best film, and then in my opinion was superseded by Avengers Endgame, which I consider the greatest currently. Congrats on 100 episodes of the podcast, guys. Here's to 100 more.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks, Ken.
Kenneth's been there since very,
Pretty
very
much
early
day
days.
one, isn't he?
Yeah. And he's stuck with us the whole time. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks
And
for
a
not being
patron.
sick of us
And
yet.
a patron as well.
Nathan has just commented saying, just finished it. Overall, it's a good superhero movie. Yes, it's cheesy and a little cliche, but it's very accurate to what the perception of comics were back then. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock really carried this movie and puts another great show in No Way Home. I think without him, this would have been a way worse film, and I agree, 100%.
I
He
agree.
made that.
Yeah.
I would probably give it 3 out of 5 now, but back in 2004, I would probably have given it a 5. There were a lot of bad comic book movies that year. Looking at you, Catwoman. Blade Trinity wasn't too bad for some early Ryan Reynolds being a Ryan Reynolds action. And others like The Punisher and Hellboy were mediocre cash-ins at best. Hope you all enjoyed watching it again. I'm going to go watch Captain America Civil War again just for the airport scene with the Spidey intro.
Amazing.
Well done on 100 episodes, boys. How funny is it
Thank
that we're all
you.
mentioning the same things, though?
Yeah.
Like, that's a bit mad. Then we've got When Harry Met Movies. So we've had them.
We
went
were on their
theirs.
podcast,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, yeah.
And taught Superman 77?
We did,
That was
yeah.
amazing, yeah.
So he said, okay, so before the Spider-Verse movies, this was without a doubt the best Spider-Man film and one of the best superhero films. Up there with Spider-Man 2 and X2 was showing how you take the origin story and move the characters forward. Doc Ock was incredible in it and the right balance of villain, horror and compassion.
Yes.
I agree.
That horror.
Yeah,
It's a Spider-Man movie. You don't
Yeah,
expect
yeah.
the horror.
No.
But it nailed it.
it was good. Padawan Bricks YT said Spider-Man 2 was one of the first live-action movies I ever watched and it's one of my favourites.
Amazing.
Sleepy Dad commented as well.
Sleepy Dad.
Congratulations on the 100th episode. Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Just did a rewatch to make sure I could give proper account. It's a good comic book movie as it's set in a comic book world, if that makes sense, where the ridiculous seems more acceptable. Very similar to the Burton Batman world.
I said that.
Isn't that weird?
I said Schumacher, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Lots of use of the screaming people running from danger, Japanese monster movie style. Yeah. Classic. Classic. Do you know what? All I can ever think of now is
Hero.
yeah.
Yeah.
In Goldmember.
Do you know what? That's a great point though, because at this point, not the hero point. I mean, that's a good point as well. But there were a few shots in this movie where, like, especially when like Doc came out the bank, that you saw like the view, like from his perspective, looking at the people screaming as he was like going over them. And again, it's just not something that you'd normally put into the movie, but it just sold it.
Yeah, 100%. Classic tale of a hero wondering whether if it's worth being a hero and need reminding that someone needs to sacrifice themselves for the greater good for the rest to be inspired to do good. Gut-wrenching line in, "You're just an empty seat to me." It's quite deep for a movie meant for kids. And Michael Bublé sings a song on the credits.
We didn't talk about the soundtrack.
We didn't, and the soundtrack was awesome.
The soundtrack to this movie.
And I knew I recognised the voice at the end when I played it.
I
was like, who is that? Because I know that voice.
I don't remember the Bublé song.
Yeah.
I remember we had Jet.
We didn't talk about the Asian lady as well. Spider-Man.
Yeah, we didn't talk about
Spider-Man.
We didn't talk about that.
And I loved it.
Do you know what though?
I'd forgotten about that and I loved it.
The problem is there's so much to this movie. Like we said at the start, every single shot is meaningful.
Yeah.
And is like, I mean, not meaningful necessarily, but like that, like with the lady outside the theatre singing the Spider-Man theme, it's still like an iconic shot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
But we had, what do we have? We had Jet, Hold On.
Yeah.
Jet, we had Raindrops by Burt Bacharach.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, like, that was absolutely spot on. And then I can always remember Dashboard Confessional Vindicated when the credits start rolling.
Yeah.
And then Ordinary by Train.
Yes.
That's in there. So many good
really
songs.
Good tracks.
Not to the same level as Gun, but bordering on this early version of Guardians, wasn't it? Not necessarily in 1 and 2, in 1 and 3, sorry, but this was like, the soundtrack was great. If they chucked a couple more songs in there, it would have been there. But that's,
definitely.
again, let's get Raimi back in the MCU.
The one thing I will say is that when she was singing though, all I could think in my head was Spider Pig.
Yeah,
Spider Pig.
Yeah, I thought
that's just always in my head now. Then, I Mean Hello said, Sam Raimi smashed it out of the park with Spider-Man 2. It's the perfect Spidey mix of heroics, humour, action, stakes and emotion, with the whole cast on pitch perfect form, especially Alfred Molina, who can't be beat at Doc Ock. It was street-level comic booking at its very best, and that whole train scene will go down as one of the GOAT action scenes on the big screen.
Agree. Totally agree. I Mean Hello as well. Been with us for ages.
Yeah.
Patron, thank you very much.
The Terrible Hook has spoken to us.
Hook? We haven't heard from the Terrible Hook for a while.
It's been a while.
Have we?
So the song was brilliant. Ordinary by Train still gets my heart and creative juices flowing. The casting was equally inspired. Alfred Molina is a gift, and James Franco isn't annoying at all for once. Isn't it mad that I found him annoying in this one?
Yeah. I think he's like my James Franco. I love James. Franco.
I love James Franco.
Yeah.
I've seen him in loads of movies now, and I've really enjoyed him in everything that he's been in.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just wanted him to stop whining in this one.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to shake him.
He did good for what he was supposed to do, though, as we said.
Yeah. And the story still holds up, considering how many super disasters we've had to sit through lately. It's comforting to know we can always turn to Spider-Man 2 to fondly remember how great superhero movies used to be.
And will be again.
Yes.
We're going to get it back. We'll get it back.
Maury said it's much better than the last film you covered, LMAO.
Yep. I mean, there's literally...
there's no argument to that
There is
whatsoever.
no argument. There is no nothing false in that statement.
Thank you. And that's everything.
Is that us?
That's all of them.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the comments.
There's a lot there, so really appreciate it.
There are a lot there.
Yeah.
And again, thank you to everybody who's contributed this week, and thank you to everybody
who's contributed over the last 100 episodes.
We must have had. I mean, we've had episodes where we've had like 50, 60 people comment when we were doing like Loki and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We must have had getting close to 1,000 messages from you guys over the 100 episodes. So thank you very much for
really
getting
appreciate
involved.
it.
We love Podfans Assemble.
Yeah,
it's one of the best bits of the episode for us. Hopefully for you as well. But I love sitting here and listening to what you guys are commenting. And even though sometimes I've read them already, a lot of the time, even though I put this together, I don't read them. I just sort of copy them and chuck them in so that I get a little bit more of an element of surprise.
And you can tell by my reading, it's the first time I'm looking at
it's
them.
100%. Yeah. It's definitely the first time Anthony's read it. Before we do our 100th wrap up, should we do patron shout outs?
Yes.
So thanks to everybody who's been a patron. Some people have started as a patron and they've not been a patron, but thank you to everybody. I can't read everybody out because I haven't got a list, basically. But anyone who's ever supported the show and been a patron,
we really appreciate it.
We do really appreciate it, even if you aren't any longer.
We need more for that Lamborghini.
Yeah. If we just get another like 6,000 of you, we're good.
Yeah.
So thanks to current patrons, Geeky Nate, Kenneth, Geeky Nate, he's been there since like Day 2.
Yeah.
Geeky Nate, Kenneth, Richard, Jessica, Jesse as well, Avid Gamer, Sheldon, and Michael as well for all supporting the show.
Yeah.
Honestly, means so much. Keep supporting us. clearly, because we need that Lamborghini. But yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Patrons get exclusive access to our bonus show Into the Podverse with new episodes every month. This month we did a movie commentary. We did Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And we covered it last week as well. Surely if we sit through Batman and Robin, the last 3 movies I've sat through for this are Batman and Robin, The Flash, and Wonder Woman 84. That's worth a patron subscription. Come on.
Yeah.
Even if you don't listen to it, do you know what I mean? The fact that we sat through that. I mean, that was the first time I'd seen Wonder Woman and The Flash as well. So yeah, I think I deserve it. And next month is no better. Next month we are going to sit
What is
through...
next month? Do I know?
Yeah, you do. I don't know whether to do a review or a commentary. We'll figure it out. Next month we're doing Madam Web.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
I've
even
not
looking,
seen it.
Neither have I. But I'm not even
So-
looking for. I was looking forward to The Flash. I was looking forward to Batman and Robin.
You were looking forward to The Flash.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
messing?
I enjoyed The Flash.
No.
It was shite.
Are you kidding me?
No,
you
I
actually
kinda-
enjoyed it.
Yeah, because of how bad it was. Because it was so
Oh,
stupid.
no.
The babies,
No.
the stupid CGI Adam West,
No.
the crappy CGI, just all the crappy CGI
The
basically.
Nicolas Cage
The yeah, but
with
look,
his long hair.
you're sitting here laughing about it. It was terrible, but it was enjoyable. I'm
I
not.
really wanted him to do like that L'Oreal head shape.
I'm not looking forward to it. I'm genuinely not looking forward to any aspect of Madam Web.
No.
I'm not even. I mean, Sydney Sweeney, like, yeah, clearly, but do you know what I mean? I don't even think she's going to be able to rescue this one. And he doesn't even know who Sydney Sweeney is.
I've seen her name recently.
There you go. She's like famous.
She's like
Yeah,
famous.
I've never seen a movie with her in, but yeah, this is going to be her first one. But I've heard good things, and a lot of the guys like her.
Yeah,
She's
fair.
alright. She's alright. Don't know how good an actress she is though. She's taken a lot of stick recently, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh,
anyway,
also,
yeah, go on.
can I just throw out a little thing?
Plug away.
Well, it's not a plug, but because it's not going to benefit me in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Amazon Prime,
Yeah. Okay.
Vox Machina. Have you seen it yet?
No, heard of it. Nothing. I've heard nothing
Brilliant.
about it. I've just heard of Vox Machina.
Brilliant. It's based off a D&D game.
Okay.
So, Gretchen Grundler from Recess, and she was Ellie, voice of Ellie
Yes.
in.
Yeah, and she was in Avengers.
Yes. Was she in
She
Avengers?
was in Avengers.
Oh, okay. So she's one of the voices.
Okay, yeah.
In this, it's animated, but it's based off like a group of people who've been playing D&D for a while. They've done it as a YouTube videos and stuff like that, and they've actually created a TV series
Yeah.
about the game that they've
Okay,
been playing, and it
amazing.
is phenomenal.
Give that a go.
Really, really good. So if you get a chance, it's a bit gory. It's a bit adult themed. So
Yeah. Okay.
don't watch it with kids.
No, I won't. I won't.
But yeah, it's really, really good. Really enjoyed
Sound.
it.
So there's
So-
that. Okay, perfect. Other stuff upcoming. So kind of before we do the wrap up, leading into the wrap up. Well, we don't normally talk about what's coming over the next few weeks, but we'll talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. Can I throw one other thing in? Anthony doesn't know this yet.
Go on.
I put a poll out because I've realised, because we all know I like my wrestling.
No, I saw this. I actually saw this on Twitter, and I was
Did
like,
you see the results?
I fucking hope you're not asking me to do anything
no,
like
I'm
this.
not asking you to do anything.
Because I would
Not at all, Anthony. Now I know
honestly,
who voted
it would
against
just
it.
it would just be comedy value because I would not have a clue.
Kinda
going on.
love this idea though, Anthony. You're not selling it. You're selling it to me. It seems like there's quite a large crossover in our listeners who are into comic book movies and who are into the wrestling. Wrestling's back. Wrestling's cool again. It is. It's gone bonkers. They've just signed a new deal with Netflix. They've just signed a new deal with Twitter. All the wrestling, again, if you're not into it, is all moving on over to Netflix in January. They paid something like $15 billion or something stupid like that for it.
Oh,
So it's all gone off basically because The Rock's back and it's cool again. So going to give it a little bit of a trial. It's a pay-per-view this weekend. It's WWE Backlash in France this weekend. So we're going to have a bonus episode. I'm really tempted to drag out into this, but at the moment I'm not. We're going to have a bonus episode early next week of me and somebody else covering it. It's going to be a bonus episode. We might only do it once, but we're going to do a bonus episode and we'll see how it goes. If you all hate it, there won't be a second bonus episode. Or there might be. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking about bringing you on the show, but now I am 100% bringing you into the bonus episode. So we'll have that. Check Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. We'll have more info on it. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to come back next week. Next week we've decided, and it's not necessarily been the popular vote, but it was kind of popular. It's the second to last episode of X-Men 97 next week. We're not going to jump in with the second to last episode review, but before we do the finale review the following week, we're going to cover X-Men 2 next week.
Yeah.
We good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, get your comments in, get your thoughts on it. X-Men 2, go and do a rewatch. I know a lot of you are doing rewatches anyway. But yeah, see what you think. Other stuff we've got coming up. We've got the X-Men 97 finale. We've got Star Wars The Acolyte coming in the next few weeks. We've got The Boys Season 4 coming in a few weeks after that as well. And then it's all leading up to Deadpool. So we've got loads of good content coming your way as well. Don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. We're there as well for all the latest updates on the show and calls to action for next week's Pod Fans Assemble. And if you've enjoyed the show and you're happy and you're thankful that we've got 100 episodes out, please do leave us a rating or review on your favourite podcast platform, because it all helps. The more ratings and more
5
reviews
stars,
we get,
please.
5 stars. If there was a 6, try it. But yeah, the more ratings and reviews we get, the more people find the show, and the higher we go up the charts. But it's all about more people finding the show and more listeners getting involved. But other than that,
And we've had new people on the Discord.
We've had again, we don't talk about this. It's in the description.
Yeah.
We do have a free Discord server. So if you would like to join in, talk to me, talk to Anthony, and talk to a lot of other listeners as well. We've got nearly 30 people on there at the moment. Not mega amounts, but again, there's a decent amount of us all on there
Nice
having a
little flow
chat.
of chats.
So again, join in. There's a link in the description as well.
Perfect.
Other than that, though, we are done. That is
We've done
episode
100th episode.
100 done.
Crazy.
It has been it's a proper milestone, that, isn't
I know,
it?
right?
Episode 100.
Yeah.
We've said it before. Thank you, Anthony, for doing this with me and doing 100 episodes. But
Thank you for being the tech guru, because
and you wouldn't have a clue.
I'd have just stood on a box in the middle of town or something and just cried out what I wanted to say, because there was no way I could do this.
No, but thanks, Anthony. Thank you, all you guys as well. If we didn't have you guys as listeners and we didn't have a growing fan base, which sounds a weird thing to say, but we probably wouldn't have carried on with this. So thank you to all you. And again, here's to another 100 episodes.
Cheers, guys.
So, see you next
Thanks.
week.
Bye.